Imagine you receive an interesting job offer. On Monday morning, you are well rested. You consider the opportunities, the risks, and your long-term goals. On Friday evening, you look at the very same offer again, but this time you are exhausted and stressed. The information has not changed, and yet you may reach a completely different decision. How is that possible? Information does not flow into a decision unfiltered. Your brain selects what you pay attention to. It interprets the information and decides how much weight to give it. Your current mental and physical state plays an important role in that process. So you do not make decisions based solely on the facts available to you. Your energy, your mood, your level of tension, and the time pressure you feel can all influence your judgment. Your state does not make the decision for you, but it changes what you notice, how you interpret it, how far ahead you think, and which action feels right in that moment. A poor decision does not necessarily lead to a poor outcome. You can make a careful, well-reasoned decision and still be unlucky. And you can make a reckless decision and succeed purely by chance. That is why we should not judge the quality of a decision solely by its outcome. The process matters too. What information was available? Which risks were considered? Which alternatives were examined? And did the decisions support the person's actual goals? A good outcome does not automatically prove that the decision was good, and a bad outcome does not automatically prove that the decision was poor. Under intense stress, our attention can narrow. The brain focuses more heavily on whatever seems urgent, dangerous, or especially noticeable. In an immediate emergency, this can be extremely useful. We need to react quickly, and we cannot examine every possible option. But the same mechanism can become a problem when we face complex professional, financial, or personal decisions. The option that promises the fastest relief can suddenly seem especially attractive. Long-term consequences, alternative solutions, and less obvious information are more likely to fade into the background. Fatigue makes it harder to compare information, spot contradictions, and weigh several options carefully. Thorough thinking requires attention and energy. When we are exhausted, we are more likely to fall back on habits, familiar defaults, or the first solution that seems good enough. That does not mean tired people automatically make bad decisions, but it does increase the likelihood that we will examine the situation less carefully and choose the easiest or most familiar option more quickly. Hunger can also change what captures our attention. Immediate rewards may seem more attractive. Patience may wear thin, and small obstacles can feel more irritating. The products in a supermarket do not change because you are hungry, but their significance does. Smells, tastes, and the promise of immediate enjoyment receive more weight. Your shopping list, your budget, or your long-term health goals may feel less urgent. A short-term desire can then crowd out a long-term plan. Time pressure often makes us search more quickly for a solution that seems plausible enough. We examine fewer alternatives, ask fewer challenging questions, and test our assumptions less carefully. But time pressure does not only change the speed of a decision, it can also change the question we ask ourselves. Instead of asking, "Is this option genuinely right for me?" we suddenly ask, "What if I miss this opportunity?" Artificial scarcity in sales takes advantage of exactly this effect through countdown timers or messages such as "available today only." Fear directs our attention strongly toward possible losses and dangers. Risks appear larger. Safe and familiar options become more attractive. This can protect us from genuine threats, but it can also stop us from pursuing worthwhile opportunities or making necessary changes. We may reject an option not because it is objectively poor, but because rejecting it gives us an immediate sense of safety. Anger can create a powerful sense of certainty. We become quicker to believe that we know what happened, who is to blame, and what should be done next. Ambiguous information is then more likely to be interpreted in a one-sided way. Kind, neutral, or harmless explanations fade into the background. A short message may have several possible meanings when we are calm. When we are angry, only the negative interpretation may suddenly seem plausible. The information has not changed. What has changed is the state through which we are viewing it. And it is not only unpleasant states that can influence our judgment. Euphoria, excitement, and early success can make opportunities appear larger and risks appear smaller. Acting quickly then feels right. Waiting or examining the situation critically can seem unnecessarily pessimistic. It becomes especially easy to project a positive trend into the future. But something that has worked well until now will not automatically continue to work well. The future usually contains several possible paths, even when euphoria makes only one of them feel likely. Our internal states do not arise independently of our surroundings. Countdown timers can create time pressure. Dramatic news can intensify fear. Enthusiastic groups can trigger euphoria. Provocative posts can fuel anger. Your environment does not make the decision for you, but it can influence which state arises and which information then appears most important. In this way, your environment can indirectly shape your decisions. Before making an important decision, perform a quick state check. Ask yourself, how stressed am I? Am I tired, hungry, or physically exhausted? Which emotion is influencing me most strongly right now? Am I under genuine time pressure, or is someone creating an artificial sense of urgency? And do I really need to make this decision now? Or could I change my state first and then look at the situation again? Sometimes you do not immediately need a better answer. You first need a better state from which to examine the answers already available to you. Sleep on it. Eat something or take a break. Step away from the situation for a few minutes. Write down your decision criteria before reviewing more information. Seek an additional perspective. Or begin with a small, reversible step that allows you to learn more without committing yourself completely. Sometimes it is not new information that improves the quality of your decision. Sometimes a clearer state is enough. Poor decisions rarely result from a single mistake. More often, incomplete information meets an unhelpful state and an environment that reinforces certain reactions. Good decisions, therefore, begin with more than the question, which option is right? They also begin with the question, what state am I in while trying to make this decision? Because sometimes a decision changes your state, and sometimes your state changes your decision. At Navigol, we make these invisible influences visible, so you can make more conscious decisions and pursue your goals with greater clarity.